Welcome to Holy Mother's birthday celebration, her puja. And today we are very fortunate to have Swami Yogeshananda here with us. So before we begin, let's just start off with the chant. If you know the chant, please chant along. Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadguru Padapadme Vayoshvitva Pranamami Muhur Om Yatagne Dahika Shaktihi Ramakrishne Stita Hiya Sarvavidya Sarupam Tam Sharadam Pranamamyam. We salute that Sri Sarada Devi, Holy Mother, who's the embodiment of all knowledge and all love. We salute you again and again and again. So thank you everyone for coming, and today, you know, I don't know if you're aware of this, we have the oldest Swami in age living in the United States, in the Ramakrishna order. Swami Yogeshananda. And we're really fortunate to have him. He doesn't go out anymore, he doesn't go to any places. It just seems that he just comes to San Diego. So they say Ramakrishna and Mother are not separate. I think sometimes San Diego and Yogeshananda Maharaj are not separate either. Where we go, he has to follow. So he has met some of the direct disciples who actually had met Holy Mother. And today, what I'd like to do is to give you a little bit of a feeling of who Holy Mother was, where she stayed. It's hard to imagine the God of the universe is in the form of this 5 foot, I heard Swami Yogeshananda say around 5'3", 5'4" embodiment here. And so to get a feeling of what that...
When I first came to Vedanta, there was a great deal of talk about Sri Ramakrishna and about Swami Yogeshananda. And their writings were freely available. Well, I had to pay for them, but they were available. There wasn't much about the woman they called the Holy Mother. And I was brand new, and I thought, oh, these people, they needed a feminine figure, so they took the wife of the Guru and made her into something deep. Can you imagine? What foolishness. The temple that I first got acquainted with was the Berkeley Temple. If any of you have seen it, you will know what I'm talking about. In the Berkeley Temple, there are 2 altars. One to Sri Ramakrishna and one to Swami Vivekananda. Just 2. So I inquired about it, and finally, of course, after some experience, I learned that the pujari, the priest, was worshipping Mother in the golden Om, which was above the pictures. There was a beautiful gold-colored Om, and in that emblem, the priest was visualizing and worshipping Holy Mother. Well, why was this? Well, the truth of it came out. Swami Yogeshananda did not want her image to be profaned. He felt that she should not be on display for lascivious glances to be cast on her And he wanted to protect her, and he loved her so much. He wanted to protect her from any kind of, even a look, which would be not in her keeping. That's why she had to be added when later Swamis came, and when the knowledge of her had become so much wider known and wide, they have added her picture, and her picture is now in the middle between the two. So people come to the temple and they wonder why the Holy Mother in the middle, Sri Ramakrishna on one side and the Vivekananda on the other side. And that's the reason for it, because after she became more well known and the Swamis were less sensitive, her picture was mandatory. You had to add her picture, and that's what they did. I saw finally something about what her worth was when they began to issue books about her, and her teachings became known, and her life became known, better known. Then I saw the reason for her being there, but I couldn't estimate. I couldn't estimate her value, her worth. It was all sort of new to me. The next experience that I had was with Swami Yogeshananda. Some of you may have known some of these Swamis. I hope you had. Swami Yogeshananda was her disciple. He came to Trabuco Monastery up here where I live years and years ago, 1945, 46 he came. And Swami Yogeshananda would talk about his guru if you asked him. If you persuade him to talk about her, he would talk. He served her intimately for some time, I think a couple of years, and he was full of her favors, her blessings, what she had done for him, and what she did, her ways in the daytime in Calcutta. He had to know her in the Calcutta house, not in her village home, because he lived and studied and was going to school, college, in Calcutta. But what he saw, he tried to give to us, convey to us, and I remember best were his songs. He sang the songs that he had been asked by her to sing to her. Well, he sang a little bit in those days. By the time he got to us, he had a croaking voice. And it didn't come out that well, but the words were beautiful. Ma, twang hi tara. Oh ma, twang hi tara. Oh mother, you are the morning star. You are the star of my life, the guiding star by which I make my way through the world. And other songs, some of which I remember. And he introduced us, really, to his guru. And it was with Swami Yogeshananda that I began to understand what mother meant in an individual life. And Swami Prabhupada, who founded this and all the other centers, well, he didn't actually found this one, but he founded the complex, Hollywood complex, Santa Barbara. You all know who he was, and you've seen pictures of his life, and heard and read his books. so I don't have to tell you who Swami Yogeshananda was. But he added a great deal to our picture of Holy Mother. He told us that he went to a nearby city when he was a tiny boy, a small boy, and not tiny, but less than high school. And his family took him to that place where Mother was staying. So he had a glimpse of the Holy Mother before he ever joined the order, and could tell us a little bit about what she was like before he became a monk. He had added a great deal to our knowledge of the Mother. And then when I was sent down here to Southern California, see, I joined in Northern California, and that's where I know about the Berkeley Temple. But when I came down here to Southern California, Swami Yogeshananda had, Swami P as we called him, had formed a convent. And all these women, young women, there were quite a few at that time, about 67 young women who had taken vows and become nuns. And their ideal, of course, was the Holy Mother. So that I understood then that she was a pattern. She was somebody who was to be copied. Someone whose life was so important and so valuable that a whole convent was named for her, the Sarada convent, and everything done in that convent was done in her name as if she had been the avatar. That meant a great deal to me because it contributed to my understanding. And when I saw these young women trying so hard to emulate her, be like her, honor her, I naturally, it enhanced my appreciation of who she was. And then we moved to Michigan, in a place called Ganges, Michigan. We have an ashram. I was one of the first in that ashram, not one of the very first, but one of the early ones. And eventually I learned how to do the worship, all the rituals that you see Swami doing here. And I practiced the worship for 2 years straight in the shrine at Ganges, Michigan. And it was in performing the worship that Mother came home to me. There's nothing like ritual worship as we do it in our order to persuade you that Mother belongs right in there with Vivekananda and the Master. They're part and parcel. They can't be separated. Yogeshananda was there too. And I did this worship for 2 years by myself. And I know that it molded my life. My life is no great shakes, but whatever it is, it's a testimony to the influence of all of these, Mother as well as Master and Swamiji and Maharaj. Next move was to New York City. I was borrowed for 10 months in New York City to take care of Swami Yogeshananda, who came from India for an operation. I was his nurse. He would not talk about her at all. Just the opposite of the others that I had known. Swami Madhavananda would not talk about Holy Mother. He would, if you asked him about her, he would say, yeah, she was my guru. You read about her in the books. Go read the books. He was brusque. He was a very short person, short with you. And severe too, very, very serious person. But you know, you could catch him at night when he went to bed. You could see the liquid forming in his eyes as he undoubtedly prayed to her before he went to sleep. And one had to just understand from knowing him his simple gravity, his terribly learned humility. You have to know what he must have got from his guru. The Swami Yogeshananda, who was his host, who ran the center, my boss for that time, was interrupted in the middle of the night by the Holy Mother in a dream and told, "Write my life for the West." Well, he thought it was just a dream, so he ignored it. But, you know, three times, third time's the charm. So, when the dream occurred the third time, he said, well, I've got to write Mother's life for the West. And he began the writing of it, and he was writing it when I was there. And during the 10 months I was there, he asked me to type. In those days there were no computers. We typed everything, all manuscripts had to be typed. So he asked me to type out one chapter to contribute to the book. So I did it. I was not very good typer, but I could type. So I typed out the chapter, I forget which chapter it was now. In the book, The Holy Mother by Swami Yogeshananda, and the way that was handled was, every morning we would gather in the living room of the house where Swami Madhavananda was housed in Thousand Island Park, New York. This is way up in Thousand Island Park. And the Swami Yogeshananda would read what he had written, chapter by chapter, to Swami Madhavananda and all of us. And Swami Madhavananda was asked to correct anything that he thought was mistaken in that book writing. And once in a while he did. He would say, no, she did this, she was like that. So we could tell from two sources, she was the guru of both of them. They were loving brothers, monastic brothers, just very, very close. And what she was came out through the writing of that book. The whole center was organized around Holy Mother. Malvina Hoffman, who did the bust of Vivekananda at Trabuco, sculptress, famous sculptress. She did the bust of Holy Mother for New York Center. And you saw it all the time. The thing that I thought was most touching right at that point was the story in the book. And you all know the story, I think. You've heard it probably more than once. Little girl had been very naughty, and to try to correct her, small girl, but she was cantankerous and naughty. They brought her to Mother to try to straighten her out, I guess. And Mother, she stayed with Mother for a while, tried to adapt to that. And then Holy Mother said, I'm going away now. I have to go away to my village, to Chairambati. Are you going to be a good girl? And the little girl said, yes, I'm going to be a good girl. Mother said, how will I know that you are being a good girl while I am gone? She didn't have any answer for that. So Mother said, if you give no trouble to anybody else and don't ask for any favors for yourself, but try to help others in everything you do, then I will know that you are being a good girl. That was my favorite story at that time. Then gradually, you see, new Swamis came, both in India when I was there and also here. New Swamis came, whose guru she was. Because she lived until 1920 and had a chance to initiate many of our monks and also to have them stay with her. Swami Yogeshananda was one of the first, but there were many later who came, and I saw what those Swamis were like. I saw the tenderness, the gentleness, and yet rigorous adherence to virtue, to truth, uprightness, and to service that was in their lives. Those characteristics of Mother were reflected in the lives of those disciples, the younger disciples, just as much as in the older ones. And they very much impressed me. Well, when I went to India, I saw her place where she lived in the Calcutta, and her home in Jairambati, and all of the things that you would see if you could go to India and visit, the things that they will show you and the things that they don't show you. I saw some of those too. And I think my favorite scene, my favorite place in India associated with Mother is the river Amodar. Even now, I love to think of that river so pure, cascading through the through the countryside, where she used to go to take her bath all by herself. And even as a little girl, she would walk out there to the Amodar and bathe, and you couldn't imagine how cold the bath that was. I hate cold water. So I was very impressed with the fact that she went out there and had her bath every morning. And it's a place associated with Swami Sarada also. So the Amodar was especially sacred for me. We are all indebted, most of all, to the books of Swami Yogeshananda. This last book, a great book, the wonder, the Devi, the great wonders, is that what?
Very divine play. Great one.
And I read it from cover to cover with greatest attention and interest. Oh, he's done so much for us. He's translated so many things we never would have got hold of. He's done so much writing and checked up on so many things, found out what was genuine, what was spurious, and written them in a very fine, elegant English style, American English, and they are wonderful. All of his books, but the best one is this, best is this one, the last one on Holy Mother. Try and get it and read it if you can, because it's worth every moment of your time. And I want to say in conclusion that Swami Yogeshananda, who had been so reluctant to expose her to the public, gave this estimate of her. He said, Mother was not a divine incarnation. She became a divine incarnation. Now figure that out. And I have a photo I have recently received. I have a photo of a portrait painted by Stuart Brandt of Santa Barbara, a famous, well not famous, a well-known artist of California, who painted many pictures of our people, our holy ones, and gave them to the Santa Barbara convent. This is one that didn't get to the convent. It went to a private family, and only recently has it been known, because that family came to the end of its line and the people that were inheriting things didn't care for Vedanta. So they gave it to a friend of mine, and she gave it to me, and I asked somebody in the monastery to photograph it for you. And so this will be new to all of you, and I'll pass it around.
Can you show it? Just show it up. So.
You wouldn't think they would paint a portrait at that age, would you? But there it is.
Well, it's a painted portrait.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have it on my wall in my room. That's why I couldn't bring it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Before we there's just a few more video clips I'd like to show you, just to get some more glimpses and insights into who Holy Mother was. As Swami Yogeshananda had talked about, if we didn't meet Holy Mother directly, we haven't had our own experience with her, the best insights for understanding we can get is to meet those who met her. Because those who met her somehow absorbed some of her traits, some of her qualities. And today Swami was talking about the quality of love, the quality of concern for others, peace. When you meet Swamis who've imbibed Holy Mother's qualities, you see that they really care for you when you come into their presence. And there's also another thing I know, Swami, is like silent love. Do you remember Swami Brahmananda had said, if I love someone, they shall not know. And if they come to know, then I have failed to love.
Wow.
That's one to chew on. What does that mean? You know, it took me time, being born and raised here, to try to understand what my parents' love is like, because their love is more from the Indian culture. When I used to see the Western culture, my Western friends, I used to see the love was more of affection, more of hugging and feeling, and you think, your parents don't do that to you. They don't kiss you like that. So am I not loved? And then it takes a little bit while that in the Eastern idea, which is not the Western, but it's more emphasizing their actions. it's what they do. It's not what they say. It's not even how much they hug you. It's what is done. And so sometimes that's hard to recognize as a kid when you're growing up. Am I being loved? And then to further understand what these divine love is, that's another fold back. What is divine love? How do we feel this? And when you meet these swamis, like Swami Yogeshananda, these great swamis, they would not even sometimes, they wouldn't show that they're making any emotion or affection. But when you're away, I happen to be with them, you see how much they pray for you, how much they're concerned for you. They're asking of others about you. Just because you leave them physically doesn't mean you haven't left their consciousness. You're still with them, and they're still caring and concerned for you. So it's just another way to think, what is love? And what does it mean for Mother to love us? So anyways, I'd like to now show you some other clips of Swami's. Swami, you're going to see a clip from Swami Yogeshananda. Swami Yogeshananda mentioned him, the last living disciple of Holy Mother. In that video, do you remember he said, I did not recognize who Mother was when I got initiated by her. Do you know Holy Mother was officially recognized in our order in 1953 to the public? She wasn't recognized. It was on her 100th birthday that she became recognized in the public. Before that, she was hidden, as Swami Yogeshananda said, she was hidden. It's my mother. And there was no photograph of her in Berkeley, as Swami was saying. And I used to ask, why don't you have a picture of Mother? Because they used to say, you could talk about my father, but if you mess with my mother, those are 5 words. So we keep our mother hidden because that love is very much between me and her. Very private, very, very intimate. So it's now she's starting to come forward. And her presence will be known more and more as time goes by. So I want to show you some other few clips of Holy Mother. As you'll start to see, you'll get her childish side and also her divine side.